Hello everybody, and welcome to my Fire Emblem 5 Thracia 776 Ironman low Turncount playthrough. Fuck, that's a mouthful. I am Lolo Santonia. I am joined by my good friend Ada and Cole.
Hello.
We're playing on Paragon mode. That means that all units are going to be gaining double experience, as I will have explained in the introductory video. If you don't know much about Thracia low turn playthroughs, I'd advise you watch that first. Let's do some settings. Going with the same color?
Oh.
Yeah, let's do it. Starting off with chapter 1, our goal is to reach the top corner of this map, where we find this Armor Knight. We have to kill him, and get Leaf to stand on this tile and seize, ending the chapter.
Along the way, we need to have several characters visit houses. Just grab a couple of useful items, including a personal weapon.
Orson has to head towards this house to gain a useful item, while the rest of our group, led by Avel of course, is gonna head towards the point that Leaf wants to seize. Oh, that's an unfortunate miss. Is that one range? Yeah, that's fine. So there we're seeing that Halvin has the skill Vantage, allowing him to attack first, even if an enemy attacks him on the enemy phase. Orson, we'll be talking about soon, he also has a useful skill, far better than his. It kind of carries him through the game.
So Finn is going to capture this unit. Capturing a Thracia is a mechanic where you can basically rescue an enemy unit if you can get their health down to 0 with your own stats halved. Finn is really good at this because he just relies on his Brave Lance anyway for this combat. And then once you've captured an enemy, you can take all their items.
It can be tempting to try and capture enemies by sheerly overpowering them with your own high stats, but as Ada said, it's often more useful to overpower them with special attributes, such as a Brave Lance. Halvin is going to go and take the inventory from that soldier that Finn captured. Then he can take and release him, so that Finn is no longer suffering any stats penalties. At the same time, we'll have Avel go ahead and continue leading the charge, so that it's safe for Leaf to progress. Ah, good old Marty. Here we've been joined by Dagda. He has base stats which look pretty okay, but in reality, they're good enough to carry him through the entire game. Additionally, he has the Accost skill. If he meets the requirements of exceeding his opponent's health and attack speed, then he can prolong a round of combat, effectively equivalent to if he attacked someone and then just attacked them again.
Tanya, again, she's an archer. She can do some nice things with proper investment and a brave bow, but we have other plans in mind for her.
I suppose you could say. The capture mechanic, like how Finn captured that soldier, is not actually unique to player units, and so you can also have your own units captured. Here we're going to be making immediate use of that. By having Tanya unequipped, she gave all of her inventory to Finn. Tanya's capture or death in these first few chapters is actually desirable, because it will allow us to skip an optional chapter later in the game, saving several turns. And so we had her unequip on Finn and get in range of an enemy who will be capturing her automatically on this following enemy phase. We'll also have Orson finally visit his house. Here he's going to be given his own personal axe, the Bouge, or whatever your translation calls it. Orson is now a fantastic combat unit. First of all, he has the Wrath skill, meaning that if an enemy unit attacks him on enemy phase, he will counterattack with a crit, with a 100% critical hit rate. Additionally, he has a 3 pursuit critical coefficient, a normally hidden statistic in the game. What this means is that if he manages to double an enemy, he will have a multiplied critical hit rate on the follow-up. With a weapon which has innate crit, such as the personal axe he was just given, he can easily reach 100 crit. The Bouge axe which he was just given has 1-2 range, meaning like Abel, he can counterattack pretty much any enemy. It has pretty good might, hit, and really good crit. So he's much like Finn with his Brave Lance, he will be using that almost exclusively in all of his combat. Here we can see Tanya being captured automatically, and because this soldier here has 8 constitution, he is not weighed down, he has his regular movement, and he can escape with Tanya next turn. By having Tanya captured here, we're losing 1 or 2 turns depending on this soldier's movement. It's approximately a 50% chance of a 5 turn and a 50% chance of a 6 turn.
Yeah, so it's usually optimal to have Tanya captured later in chapter 3, but it's less funny.
Yeah.
So that's why we're just taking her from spawn to wherever captured units go.
If we would have Tanya captured in chapter 3, then the route would not be diverging until then, pretty much, from a more regular playthrough. And I thought it would be far more interesting if we have it distinct from a regular low turn count playthrough immediately. And yes, it's funny. I love Tanya, but I also love gameplay-informed narratives. We'll see you later, Tanya. A little quirk of the Light brand that Leaf has is that he can actually use it as if it's a vulnerary. It's just a nice feature about that. He never really has to carry a vulnerary around. This
Just gives it a lick.
This Armor Knight here is standing on the gate, which gives him plus 10 defense and plus 30% avoid. That's gotta be the best throwing bonuses are in the game, in the whole series, I think. This makes some bosses very challenging to beat if you just try to overpower them physically. One way that you can counter them is by instead using magic. For example, Avel attacks with magic at range when she uses her flame sword, making her the best boss killer for these few early chapters. Oh. We'll talk about that later.
Oh, movesets.
We'll talk about that later.
Okay.
Much as how Orson visited his own house, Halvin is now gonna come and visit his house. For doing so, he's going to receive the Brave Axe. Unlike Finn's Brave Lance, which is personal to him, the Brave Axe anybody can use if they have sufficient axe rank, which is only D. So, unfortunately for Halvin, what people would typically do with the Brave Axe, and what we will also be doing, is instead just give it to a better unit such as Dagda. With the Brave Axe, Dagda can, proccing a cost, he can hit enemies up to 8 times. So even if he has around like 60 hit, as he often will, he has surprisingly good chances to capture or kill an enemy. Here it's turn 5, and Leaf is now able to reach the throne and see use at any point, so we'll just be cleaning up the chapter by collecting the last few items. Starting with Dagda, who gets the life ring here. The rings in this game are Thracia's iteration of the stat boosting items, so for example this life ring will boost any unit's health by 7 permanently. We'll be using that later. Finn did quite a bit of capturing this chapter. Capturing isn't something we have to worry about too much, although it is one of the main ways that you're going to be getting money in this game. It doesn't typically just hand you money like a lot of Fire Emblems do. Instead, it expects that you capture units, take their items, and sell them at vendors. And that's chapter 1, pretty easily done in 5 turns.
So chapter 2 is fairly similar to the first one. We just need to get Leaf to the seize point and have the boss killed so that he can end the chapter. There's a couple of houses to visit again for some nice items.
Some chapters in this game have optional chapters associated with them called guidance chapters. These can be skipped in a SS playthrough because we are not playing for full recruitment. However, we will be going to the chapter 2X by visiting all the houses here, because one of the characters available is essential to any low turn count playthrough like this. Our general approach to the chapter will be to have a group led by Eivor storming the throne once again, while the rest of our units hang back and start grinding some experience. Finn is going to give the iron bow that he got from Tanya to Dagda, and then he'll rescue Leaf and start making his way to the throne. Leaf's movement isn't the best, he's kind of average at that, but by being escorted by units with higher movement, he can get to places much quicker. Okay, we'll catch it. Immediately we're seeing that Dagda with the Brave Axe is capable of capturing kind of whatever he wants. Here he has an 84% hit rate, hits twice, and only has to hit 2 of his 4 attempts. A goal we will be trying to meet in these early few chapters is getting Orson as much experience as possible. He's a really good unit with just a little bit of investment, so we'll be trying to get him to promote by a certain chapter. Thracia has a unique mechanic called movement stars. Certain characters will have a number of movement stars, each one representing a 5% chance to, on any given action, have the action refreshed. So for example, on turn 1, there were 2 instances where Eivor got a movement star. You can see by Vigor it says that she has 2 stars, so she has a 10% chance on any action to be able to act again. This can be very useful. For example, in this chapter, it's a fairly easy 4-turn. However, there is a small chance that Eivor could miss the boss. This can be compensated by Eivor proccing her Adept skill, allowing an additional attack, by gaining a critical hit, or by proccing a movement star at any point in the chapter.
Take a shot every time Thracia has a unique mechanic.
You'll fucking die. Oh, okay, there's a Thracia unique mechanic, I guess.
Oh, well.
Well. So in Thracia, units have a very small chance to increase their movement. Here, Orson has a 2% chance on any given level to gain movement, and there he's got it on his 2nd level. I guess that bodes well, huh? In reality...
So far, so good.
In reality, movement isn't actually an incredibly important stat in Thracia, you might be surprised to hear, even in a low turn count playthrough. Especially in the late game, it becomes way less important than it would be in any other game. But for these early chapters, having additional movement on a unit like Orson is definitely going to be nice and helpful. You absolute buffoon. You cretin. We didn't talk about Ronan, huh? We got a bit distracted by that movement level. We got
It's
Ronan,
just Ronan.
by visiting that house. Yeah, he's just Ronan. He's a guy. He's a funny little archer like Tanya. Unlike female archers, male archers have 7 movement, and they do not gain any movement on promotion. They effectively just get that 1 point of movement a bit early. Ronan also has 15% chance to proc a move star. He's... As far as archers go, he's a pretty useful unit for the early game, just on the merit of having 7 movement, being unmounted so that he can go indoors fine, and a 15% chance to proc a movement star. He also grabs us a speed ring, much like that life ring last chapter. This can increase the unit's speed by 3. Again, we'll be using this later. Here's the moment of truth. We gotta see if Avel can kill this guy. And this is unfortunate. Even some enemy bosses in Thracia will have variable stats. So this guy Bucks, he's rolled pretty high movement, high magic, which doubles his resistance. So Avel is unable to actually 2-hit KO him. So she needs to either proc Adept or get a crit. Otherwise we'll have to rely on Finn to get the kill. Oh, that's
What's the cost of relying on Finn?
Okay, there we go. Finn just wouldn't be quite as reliable at finishing enough. It is very good if Avel fails and then Finn is able to kill, because that's a nice experience on him. Although he does meet his benchmark fine. Avel gets a blank level and we do not care because she's Avel, she's good at base. And as I said, it's a very comfortable 4-turn for chapter 2. That can sometimes be delayed to a 5-turn with some bad luck.
So we have yet another Seas map, but this time with Fog of War, meaning that units can't attack into unseen tiles, and if they would move into an enemy unit or something, they just stop and lose that turn. Once again, we're going to have Avel lead the charge while Orson grinds XP off to the side, and Leaf seizes as soon as possible.
On turn 1, Finn dismounted, so he got off his horse. By doing this, he would normally, when mounted, suffer a great terrain penalty, traveling through the sand, but by dismounting, he can travel quite easily through the sand. It's important that we get him to stay approximately at the front lines, so that's why we had him dismount, so that he can be rescue dropped and move a bit easily. Yeah, talking while doing actions is very hard, because I don't want to make mistakes.
Does Finn lose any weapons while dismounted?
Yes, Finn normally would use B rank lances, however when he's dismounted, he's locked to swords, which he only has D rank in. Some people suggest that you get 20 sword rank on Finn, so that in indoor chapters he can use the killing edge, but really, like, that's not very important. Generally, it's better for him to just not see much use in indoor chapters, as far as combat goes. I would highly suggest that you use him when he's good outdoors with his Brave Lance.
The stat penalties from dismounting aren't insignificant either.
Yeah, generally you're gonna see, like, at most around -2 or 3 in some relevant stats. It depends on the class, what penalties you get. Lawson finally starts his journey where he's going to be attacking as many enemies as possible. Make sure that he's safe here. 14, 21. Okay, it's just because he has a steel axe. That's 10 and 17. He lives on 1 health if he gets hit by both.
It's fine.
Oh, good. No crit rate? Yeah, they both got 1%. Orson, on his journey down here to gain some experience. He's going to be facing some small crit rates because he didn't level luck yet on any of his levels. I can't complain, he did get movement. This means that he will have a small chance of death. In most instances, he would have to get crit by someone and then also hit by several other enemies. However, some enemies are stronger, such as this guy with a steel axe. He could just kill him in one hit if he gets a 1% crit. That said, it is early enough in the run, and it is important enough to get him experience that I feel it's justified to still take this risk. There, Finn finally gets back on his horse and rescues Leaf. This normally isn't important, but if I believe that pirate there manages to roll 6 movement, then he would have actually been able to attack Leaf, which is why we have him rescued. So you can see Orson living perfectly on 1 health.
All according to plan.
All according to plan. Thank God I calculated it.
Yeah, after moving him.
Well, because I could have, like, sent someone else to block the path if he was in chance of death. I had to move him so that I could see what the other enemy was. What attack they had and everything. 6 years. Okay, that's fine. Dagda can almost always kill this enemy because he has a cost. There is a very small chance that he could roll enough speed and constitution that Dagda doesn't proc a cost. Even in that event, Dagda would just have to hit 2 of 2 instead of 2 of 4 with a 90% hit rate, so his chance is still really good. Very fortunately in this game, vulneraries fully restore your health. It's really nice to have tools like that, where you can just use them and not have to worry much about anything else. If Avel did happen to miss that hunter there, who she has 99 hit on, that would just quite simply cause a turn loss, and there's nothing you can really do about that. Ronan's gonna take this door key, which will be useful later. While he's at it, he'll give that speed ring to Leaf. A little lower on flame sword uses than normal, but that still should be fine.
There's not long left now.
Not long left.
No, not very well.
With that flame sword, all we really need is we need it to last us until the end of chapter 3, at which point it could be broken for all we care. Was it? He just got magic.
Nice.
Awesome, getting some kind of funky levels right now.
It's the promo that counts.
It's the promo that counts. There we go. By standing on these forts in this chapter, a couple of them, you can get access to early torch staves. Sorry, not staves, just torch items. They allow you to increase your vision radius during any Fog of War map, which can be nice and helpful if there's anything that you need to put into vision range early.
Avel is going to need to equip the flame sword here, so that she can kill... Well, one of the 3 enemies she's going to fight will have 2 range.
3 or 4. I forget which.
3 or 4?
Yeah.
I think it was 3.
She'll have to counter just one of them.
Yeah. Ironically,
the...
they'll be attacking at 1 range anyway.
Yeah.
Because she has a flame sword equipped.
The warrior will be able to attack at 1 or 2 range. And so with the flame sword, we can just make sure that we can counterattack them. Yeah, so 4 total enemies. Here he is attacking at 1 range to taunt us. Okay, and she procced a dab. There is a chance that Avel fails to kill that guy. she needs to either proc, adapt, or land a critical hit. In the event that she does fail, we also have Leaf here, who could have gone here and finished him off with the light brand. So it would seem to be kind of unreliable, but it's actually a very consistent strategy.
Trust Avel.
Pardon?
Trust Avel.
Trust in Avel. By giving Leaf to Avel, we can get the boss in vision radius while getting Leaf and Seize in range to Seize next turn. The boss is Lithus. He's completely disarmed, meaning that any unit with a weapon can capture him without having to fight him. We'll talk more about Lithus next chapter when we see him again. So as you can see, Finn can automatically capture Lithus with no problem. Here, we see Shiva. Shiva's a Myrmidon who can be recruited later if you leave him be. We will not be doing that. Instead, we kill him here with Avel using the Flame Sword. And what that does is mean that in the chapter later where he would normally appear, he will not unnoble any of the enemies that he is accompanied by. This means that we can save a turn later and also save a bit of reliability by not having to fight any of them. Shiva, if we recruit him, doesn't really do anything for us. So even if we were to have failed to kill him there, which is about a 10% chance, it is actually ideal to still stay here an extra turn. We would attack with Leaf to try and finish him off, and then on turn 9 we would have a second chance with Avel, and then even failing that, Finn could give Lithus to Avel and try himself. So it's almost a guaranteed 9 turn, even if Avel fails to kill there. And since we would have lost the turn later, had we not killed Shiva, you always want to go for that.
I guess you introduced this last chapter, because I've done the past couple.
Yeah, sure. Here we have the final chapter of this episode. We are at an Imperial fort, where once again we have to escort Leaf to a throne, kill an Ammonite boss, and get him to seize. One of the side objectives involves these children here. They are civilians trapped in this prison cell, and we have to take them and escort them back to their houses, which will involve doing some intricate rescue chains. Typically, you would be rescuing just 2. One of them would be for a recruitable character, required if you're playing for Triple S rank, and the other would be for a game-breaking item a few chapters later on. Here we have to rescue a 3rd child, so that we can get another stat boosting item, just to help us reach some late game benchmarks. Additionally, we are joined by 2 new characters. We have Safi here. Safi has a staff which is unique to her, the Haman staff. With this, she can restore any item to full uses, which will be incredibly later useful on. Safi is an essential unit in almost any low turn count playthrough. This will be pretty clear later on. What's important right now is that she has C staves and is 40 out of 50 staff rank through that level. She needs to gain 60 staff experience so that she can reach A staves by a certain chapter. In order to do that, we will be getting 50 of that staff experience by having her promote. So she needs to get 7 levels by a certain point and promote. Lithus, the boss of the previous chapter, has now joined us. He has some useful utility, being a thief. He can pick any lock, and he can steal items from some enemies if he meets the requirements. What's more important right now is that he has a Crusader scroll. There are, I believe, 12 of these in this game. What they do is they modify a unit's growth rates. So for example, you can see how they modify Lithus's growth here. And they also negate any chance for a unit to be hit by a critical hit. These scrolls can be incredibly useful for mating for meeting some benchmarks on units who want to reach certain levels. For example, Safi, something again unique to Thracia is that your staves can actually miss. If you have less than 10 skill, you will have a small chance. So for example, right now, there is a 16% chance that Safi could miss whenever she uses a staff. It is integral at some points of this playthrough that we absolutely know that Safi can use a staff and she will hit. So it's important that we get her to 10 skill, so we'll be getting a useful scroll for that later on, where we can improve her chances of doing so.
So, in terms of grinding Safi XP, every class in the game has a hidden variable called class power, and the XP a unit gains from combat is based on the ratio of the enemy class power to their own. So because Safi is a priest, she has very low power, and she's going to get lots of XP from being attacked.
Especially on Paragon mode.
Especially on Paragon mode.
She would have also faced a small amount of crit, but she's actually supported by Leaf from Marty's back pocket. Thank you, Leaf. A good little cheerleader.
Leaf supports like half the cast.
Yeah, he supports a bunch of people. Safi's actually going to be facing 1% crit from like, all of them. Is there any way I can get this roll? If I can have like a couple of units. How was it way down?
This is a cast chapter, we don't want to face crit.
It's a cast chapter. But I can get the scroll on Safi.
Okay. And then you can talk about it. That's content, baby.
Yeah, that's content.
Oh, what a trade chain.
What a chain. Okay, so I think it's a pretty good time to address the recording situation and this fucking archer here. So this was not actually the first recording attempt, and I explained that in the recording, but for the sake of time and being a bit more concise, I'll do it again now as post-commentary over some sped-up footage. So the day before we recorded this, Ada and I had already done an attempt up to the end of Chapter 3. Some things went wrong there, like on Chapter 2X, Shiva lived a round of combat against Eivor. That's just a flat turn loss, nothing you can really do about it. And then also here, on Chapter 3, Eivor failed to kill one of those archers. There's always a very small chance of that, just because Thracia has 99 misses, of course. But if it does happen, it's really unfortunate, because that means that Safi cannot safely bait one of the archers on this enemy phase here. This slows down her experience gain, and it makes the area in general a bit less safe. So for example, last time I still had Safi rescued at the end of this turn. Ronan ended up taking an extra hit from an archer, which he wouldn't have normally. And so on the next turn, I was very tunnel visioned on how to get Safi starting to grind experience as quickly as possible. And Ronan actually ended up dying to what would normally be a totally safe encounter had he not taken that extra hit. You may have expected that this would be why I would re-record the session, but that's not actually true. The one reason I wanted to re-record this was because I wasn't satisfied with the commentary. Neither of us had had any experience beforehand, so the commentary was very unstructured. There was a lot of dead air. But after revising the style a bit, we got a session which I was much happier with. Additionally, the previous one was by no means dead. The turn requirement is really lenient. We have plenty of turns of leniency, and Ronan isn't actually necessary after Chapter 3. If anything, I would have preferred to have continued with that run, because I would love to demonstrate how this route does account for a level of bad luck and a lot of turn losses. But I thought, especially on episode 1, it would be best to prioritize the viewing experience and make the commentary a bit tighter. In that light, I will still be considering this to be attempt 1, since that run I do believe I could have continued with it, and it could still have been like totally a successful run. But I thought I should address that since, of course, any edited Ironman like this requires some level of trust and transparency. So I thought I should make that clear. I just hope you guys all understand that. Anyway, to catch you guys up on some of the stuff that happened during the speed up, due to some favorable enemy rolls, Safi can actually safely enemy phase against an archer and a mage, allowing her to get 2 rounds of combat experience per enemy phase. This is really nice because she wants a total of 700 experience before she can promote. To allow this to happen, we have Finn go to a specific spot where, with the terrain, he is blocking that mage in so that the mage can only attack him or Safi. Really, the mage should prioritize Safi, in my experience, although on the first of those enemy phases, he did for some reason attack Finn, though it worked out fine afterwards anyway. Also, there was an Armor Knight, which Avo enemy phased on enemy phase 3, if I remember right. She killed him just fine. Normally, there's a pretty good chance that Avo wouldn't kill there, but that's totally fine because Dagda is also free to finish him off on turn 4 player phase when he takes a civilian, gives them to Avo. Anyway, I'll leave it back to live commentary, Lolo and Ada. So I just hope you guys all understand. Alright, thank you. Ava can start making her way back to the throne. And we are now on pace to meet a 7-10.
It would be nice if Safi levels skill before the end.
Yeah, again, Safi wants to meet 10 skill by the same time that she wants to promote. She gets 1 skill from promotion, so she needs a total of 3 skill levels. The next time that we're grinding her, she will be able to get a boost to her skill growth. She will have 75% growth. But any levels here will just make it a bit more consistent. So that's something that we're looking out for. He's going to be facing 4 crit from each of these guys. But I trust in Ronan. I trust in him. And so we will continue as planned. Okay. That's really good. Fuck trusting in Ronan. We don't need to.
You sure?
I don't think we need to trust in Ronan anymore.
You could still get him crit if you wanted to.
I could still get him crit, that's true. Do you think he wants to get crit? He might.
I don't think it's his choice.
Do we test Ronan? Honestly, I'm curious after last run. Oh shit. Why is this guy alive? So yeah, this guy could potentially crit Ronan. Oh, that guy's going at it again. What? Oh no! He has... Okay. I didn't realize he had 7 move. I think we have to find out.
We had some interesting RNG with Ronan, so...
We did have some interesting RNG. Oh, we're gonna play that shit back.
Alright, well, Ronan gets crit. That's my magic words. Oh, they're not even gonna attack him, are they?
They might. Oh, the archer won't. In fact, yeah, unless the mage moves first and manages to crit Ronan, he's completely fine. So he has possibly a roughly like 4% chance of death. But yeah, the archer will definitely choose to attack Safi over Ronan. Orson delivers one of the civilians back to that house, in return for which he gets the shield ring, boosting any unit's defense by 2. Again, we're kind of hoarding all of these stat boosting items right now, which is generally a bad idea. You kind of want to use them as soon as possible so that you get the most use out of them. We will be using them as soon as possible on the unit who wants to get them though.
Yeah, the 1 unit.
The 1 unit. Okay, yeah, okay. There's no problem with the rescue chains then. A lot of this footage will be cut out, but I have spent a lot of time just looking at the map and counting tiles for how I can make these rescue chains work within the turn requirement that I want to meet. Generally, this is a good idea. Just looking at the map and taking a lot of time to absorb the situation is something you should be trying to do in any kind of low turn playthrough like this. Yeah, this is so lenient. It's fine. That's kind of annoying, but I don't think it changes anything. Normally that Armanite would have attacked from the left in all of my planning, meaning that Avel and Leaf will be having to go through the pillar, facing a 2 terrain penalty, but they'll still be able to reach where they want to go in time. Additionally, one of the soldiers had a chance to roll additional movement. This would have also been fine, even though Avel has to kill them, because Avel still has one tile of leniency to reach the boss in time.
Safi lived without Vulnerary though, didn't she?
Yeah, she would have. Money management doesn't really...
the chapter on 14 health.
Yeah, money management doesn't really matter in this route, so it's... Never mind, fuck this guy. I think I just lost a turn. No, I can work with this. I can work with this. Can Dagda kill this guy?
Move star from earlier, coming in clutch.
Next is turn 7. Okay, let's see if I can get this set up so that Dagda will... Halvan will have the civilian here, so Dagda can kill this Armanite. And then I can set up a rescue chain so that on turn 7 I can get the civilian from here. This is Corporal? Yeah. So that I can get the civilian from here all the way down to this village here. Let's see if I can do that. Oh, no problem. Thanks, Ronan.
Ronan moves star.
Look, this is inventory is empty. I didn't remember to get... Okay, yeah. All the inventory management is good. Okay, yeah. So now, by giving that civilian, Dagda can 2-hit KO, and he has 2 attempts, and he just fucking crits for no reason.
Good job, Dagda.
So now Leaf can go far enough that next turn he can seize. That was a worry, that could have been a turn loss. But no, we were reaching the lowest realistic turn counts on all of these chapters, so that's good. Yeah, everything's set up. All we need is Avel to kill that boss. Again, Avel is going to be fighting a boss with the Flame Sword, and because of the 30 terrain bonus from the throne, Avel will have a chance to miss. Much like Bucks in Chapter 2, there's a chance that Avel could be facing a boss who can live 2 hits from her, and would need to proc Adapt or a crit. Here we got lucky, I believe. Yeah, we got lucky, and so we can 2-hit KO. So we need Avel to kill this boss with 1 round of combat. One way of optimizing this chapter would be to have Dagda here in time. That's what a previous revision of this chapter had that I was using. You could also instead have Avel get 2 chances to kill the boss. But she does it just fine here, so we can get the 7th turn with ease. What's she gonna get? More magic. We got a nice magic Avel for her Iron Blade that she's using next. Inventory, I believe, is all set up. There's some interesting inventory management going on here, where, for example, Leaf has the Brave Axe, and he's sort of just had the Speed Ring and not been using it. Likewise, Lethis has no items, and Marty is completely disarmed. This may seem nonsensical, but due to, again, the story of the game, certain events will be happening where units are split up, and so the distribution of items can be quite important in a playthrough like this. The important things were what Leaf and Lithis had, as they will be brought to the next chapter. Avel's items will be sent to the convoy, and Marty should be disarmed for the next time that we see him. We deliver Corporal here. We don't get anything right now, but by doing this, we will get that game-breaking item which I alluded to earlier. And likewise, by delivering Ubel, we don't get anything right now, but we can recruit a character in the next chapter. Safi managed to reach level 7, much higher than we would normally expect her to be at by this point. She didn't get skill at any point, meaning that to get the best possible turn count in the next chapter where we are grinding her, she needs to hit. She needs to gain 3 skill out of her 3 possible levels with a 75% growth, which is quite unlikely. It shouldn't be an issue because even though she may be going to level 11, she would still be grinding for around the same number of turns as she might have been before, since she is a higher level right now. And so we can go ahead and seize the chapter in a cool 7 turns, concluding this episode. We hope you guys will join us next time, where we'll be going into some of the most difficult chapters in the game. Here you can see at the end, there's a lot of people talking right now. Again, this is the story. What's important is that our group will all be split up, and we'll have to be reuniting later. We hope you join us next time. Thanks for watching, and bye.
Farewell.
Recording now. Let's give this another shot.
Testing again?
Oh no, this will be the actual run.
Okay.
So yeah, get the tube voices on.
YouTuber voice!
YouTube voice! Alright, let's reset.
In
Hello.
chapter 1.
Fuck.